Hi everyone, today we are going to introduce some simple functions in Scratch 3. This video can help people better understand how to code in Scratch. Here, we have the code area, and the first thing to do is to click on the events on the left side. Here, we're going to grab the when green flag clicked button to start the code. Now let's check out the other categories. Let's move on to the motion category, which is the blue one. The first block is the move 10 steps block. Let's snap this on to our start block. We can click the block to activate the action, like this, or we can click on the green flag. You can add as many blocks as you want, and you can easily reorder or delete these blocks at any time. There are several important functions to know in the control category. The first function we have to know is the forever block, which, as it sounds, will repeat the instructions included in the block forever. If we want the sprite to move consistently, we can add a forever block to have it move 10 steps consistently, like this. As you can see, the block will snap itself in place, and if we press the green button, our sprite will move forever. We can also adjust the number in the move block, like this. We can change it from 10 to 5. Second, if-then block is commonly used to cope with different circumstances. This is the if-then block. Assume we want the sprite to move backward when the mouse pointer touches the sprite. We can simply grab an if-then block and then use the touching mouse pointer in sensing category, which is here. Now, we need to have the move 10 blocks be negative so that it will move backwards. Now let's run the program and see what it does. As we can see, whenever the mouse pointer touches the sprite, it moves backwards. Finally, we have the wait block, which allows the sprite to pause for seconds. During this time, the sprite won't run other code. This is the wait block here. Now, we move to the variables category. We can store a number or a string in a variable, and then we can change the content at any time and access the content in the variable. Here's an example. Let's say we want a timer in Scratch. We can easily achieve these by using variables. Let's create one. To create a variable, we have to go to the variables section, and we have to give it a name. Here. Make a variable. Let's just say it's called timer. As you can see, a timer symbol appears with a number next to it on the top left corner of the sprite page. Let's grab the forever block and wait 1 second block. As you may remember, they are both in the control category. Wait 1 second and forever. To change the number in this variable, we simply use the change my variable block, which is here. So, if we have a forever and use the change my variable by 1 and wait 1 second, we have successfully made a timer in Scratch. Let's test it out. When we start the program, we'll see that the timer increases by intervals every 1 second. Now we have a timer in Scratch. Next, I'm going to introduce you to our project Sky Arena. It's a simple and user-friendly tank game in Scratch. You can manipulate our tank by using the code created by yourself. If you're interested in competing with others from different nations, simply submit your code to our team and we will have a perfect platform for you. Here's how it works. We choose 2 participants and use the code they submit to run the game. There will be 3 rounds in each match, and we will live stream the games on YouTube so that everyone can enjoy the action and see this exciting match, including your friends and families. After you submit your code and basic information, you will receive an email with the exact time of live stream, and you can check out our website to find out as well. This competition will be held on a monthly basis, so you're free to submit your code at any time. The winner of the month will will receive a reward for this platform. Sounds good, right? Right now, we are going to show you how this game functions and then what rules you need to follow. First, please note that all participants can only use the functions in my block category to move the tank. Once we find other blocks being used to move the tank, we will ask the participant to correct the code. Let's start with the fire block. You can use this block to attack your enemies. If the tank shell hits your rival, it can cause 1 point damage. So, let's see it in action. As you can see, each time the shell hits the enemy, the health bar above the enemy, showcasing how many health points is remaining, decreases. Each tank has 4 health points each round. Next, let's learn how to move your tank. Let's grab a Go Straight button. In each move function, there is a blank space which you can indicate the power, which affects how fast the tank moves. Let's fill it in as 10 for now. As you can see, the tank only moves slightly each time. Let's see what happens when we add a loop. This time, it moves more because we're using a loop to loop it 10 times, which it moving at 10 speed each time. How about moving backwards? We can simply fill in the blank with a negative number, such as -10. This way, our tank can move backwards. Next, let's learn another way of moving forward. Go straight seconds. Let's put these blocks aside first. Go straight seconds is this block, and as you can see, there are 2 blanks in this function. The first one, as always, is the power. Let's set it as 10 again, and this time the second blank is how many seconds the tank will move. Let's set it as 4 now. Let's test it out. As you can see, the tank moves for 4 seconds and for 10 speed each time, as we indicated. Now the tank moves just like where we want to go. You can adjust the power and time whatever you want. Next, let's learn how to make turns. We are going to use the turn left block, but before that, let's discard this. After we have selected the turn left block, we need a loop to keep it turning. So, again, this blank in the turn left indicates the power you want. Let's set it as 10 again. As you can see, it looks great and turns smoothly. Let's try to move faster. And this time, let's try using the turn right block. Because we want it to be faster, let's try 50 this time. Pretty well, as good as the turn left block. You can also set how many seconds to turn by using the turn right for seconds and turn left for seconds block. Here I'm going to briefly demonstrate this function, as you already know how it works. As you can see, it turns for 4 seconds with 10 power each time. There is a drawback of this time function, however. When you use these kinds of moving blocks, your tank cannot run other codes until it finishes this instruction. Therefore, it is important to choose appropriate functions while coding, and distinguish when you want to use moving by seconds, moving by degrees, or using conditions such as if and else statements. Apart from using time to distinguish how much you want to turn, we can also specify the specific angle to change the tank's direction. Say we want the tank to make a 90-degree left turn. We choose blue turn left angle and choose the speed, and in this case we want it to turn 90 degrees, so we'll just simply put 90 here. Let's see it in action. The tank moves 90 degrees to the left. The first blank, as again, represents the power, and the second represents the degrees you want the tank to move. This works similarly to the turn for seconds block. And the drawback is the same as well, because the next instruction will not be carried out until finishing the turn for angles block. Next, there are two vital blocks used to receive data. They are the measure distance and measure azimuth. Usually, we want to see the data all the time, so we need a loop to achieve this. Now, for this demonstration, I've revealed the hidden variables in the top left corner up here, so you can see what the values for these are. When your rival is in front of the tank, the enemy distance variable will show the distance between the two tanks. If your tank is facing the boundaries, well, distance variable will show the distance between your tank and boundaries. Apart from that, the enemy distance will be set to 0. With these two variables, you can create a smarter tank. Let's see it in demonstration. So, in my blocks, we'll need to click on the measure azimuth and measure distance. These two sees the relative distances, and then we need to use a for function to keep detecting the distance and keep updating our variables so that we have all the latest information. Let's see in action. As you can see, the distances change when I move the tank around. This shows that our code is working. Finally, after learning all the basics, we can create our first program, a very simple one, for our tank. We need several things. We need a firing function, we need a comparison, a distance variable, a turn left button, a forever loop, and then an if-else. The way we're going to set up this program is to look for the enemy robot. So we'll keep turning our robot until the distance from our robot to the enemy robot is greater than 0. So first, we need a forever loop to encompass everything. Next, let's use the if-else statement as the biggest deciding factor, or over what actions we want to do. So, if the blue enemy distance is greater than 0, if that is greater than 0, then that means that there is someone in front of us, the other tank, so we want to fire. But if there is no one, then it's not greater than 0. We want to actively find our enemy by turning. Let's not turn too fast right now because it makes for more accurate shooting. Let's set the power at 10. So when we run this program, we'll see that it's turning, the blue robot is turning, and the corresponding blue wall distance and the blue enemy distance is changing. And as you can see, our program is successful. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope you've learned something and look forward to seeing you on our platform. Thank you.